While Syria is still engaged in a continuous and deadly civil war, several international voices have been expressed recently questioning whether or not to support Bashar al-Assad's regime. In Israel, opinions vary as to what would be preferable for the Jewish state. What is Israel's best-case scenario when it comes to Syria?
It's an ongoing debate in Israel. I don't think that Israel has an answer. There are those Israelis who say, you know, this is the Israeli interest to get rid of Bashar al-Assad. He's part of the axis of evil. He supplies Hezbollah with advanced weapons. So our interest is to let him down. On the other hand, there are those Israelis who argue he is the devil we know. The alternative is much worse. Radical Islamists that will turn the Golan Heights into another Sinai Peninsula, chaos, lack of stability, terrorism. So Bashar is an enemy, but still a clear address for us, somebody who is fully committed to maintain the border quiet. So we should make sure that he stays in power. I think that in the long run, this is in the interest of Israel to see the fall of such regime and the emergence of much moderate, more representative regime supported by the West. It can be a long time till we see it happening, but I think that in the long run, that's the interest of Israel.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recently returned from a visit to Russia, where he urged President Putin to abstain from delivering weapons to the Syrian president. Netanyahu failed. The arms deal was signed, with Russian officials convinced that if Assad no longer reigns, a Sunni extremist regime may take over. There is a debate going on between Russian and American voices, with Israel playing a role as well.
Right now, part of what is happening in Syria actually doesn't happen on the ground in Syria, but between Washington and Moscow. There is international pressure, Israeli pressure, American pressure on Russia not to supply the Syrian regime with advanced weapon system. According to Russian sources, the agreement has been signed, and it's only a technical matter. It's only a matter of time till this weapon will be supplied. For Russia, it's part of a much bigger game with the Americans, as if we are once again at a Cold War. Also, the Russians' argument is that the collapse of this regime means a great victory for the radical Islam. Radical Islam is also a threat to Russia. So by supporting Bashar, they ensure Russian interests.
What outcome of anti-Assad rebellion best suits Israel?
The rebels, you can see the radical Islamists, you can see the Muslim Brothers, and you can see the moderate Syrians. I think that those who are moderate tend to lean to democracy are those that Israel want to see in power in Syria after Bashar, and I think that they have a chance, and they do represent major segments of the Syrian society. And I think it can happen. It is not only in the interest of Israel, but also in the interest of the Syrian people itself and in the interest of all Syrian neighbors.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu vowed to ensure the security of Israeli citizens and to do his best to prevent the transfer of advanced weapons to Hezbollah and other terrorist elements. For JN1, I'm Sivan Raviv, Israel.